The sort of advice you're offering players is about the confidence, about believing themselves and believing themselves and their ability to be at this level. And the challenge for us is having one or two familiar combinations and partnerships, and then bringing things together as quickly as we possibly can, and gelling a squad of players that are often playing for the first time together and trying to get up to speed as quickly as we possibly can. But the message to the players is, it's about belief, it's about confidence, and it's about improving from training to training and game to game. I think when you're managing the players, I mean that's the biggest challenge in terms of how we do get things right, in terms of the quantity of training. Sometimes the message to the other coaches is, look, don't overcoach, don't give them too much information, and don't overload them as well. And talking to the conditioners, the medics, looking at volume and load, and try not to take too much of the sting out of the players' legs. And our whole focus at the moment is building to the test series. And sometimes you are doing a little bit more behind the scenes. You are doing extra in trainings, and you aren't going to have the players quite as fresh as they might be at the start of the tour. But it's about them being able to manage a little bit later on and pull back on things so that we do freshen things up, and the whole thing is about priming the players to be having done enough in terms of preparation, but to be in the right shape physically for particularly that first test. Yeah, what players do, I mean, some of them on their days off they might go and to a movie just to get away from things, get out of the hotel and go and have a cup of coffee. One or two players might play a round of golf and karts as well. So it's important that they do get away from the intensity of the tour, and in a day off look to do some things. At the moment we've been pretty full on in terms of we've been training every day, and the day off and the recovery day has been a travel day as well. So, and we knew that sort of planning the start of the tour that there wasn't going to be too much time off in terms of particularly early on, and so it's about that, managing the players to do just get away from it and get out of the hotel, and some of them look to do that. We'll be doing things a little bit later on the next week or so, having what we call mini groups, so players and coaches going out in groups of sort of 6 to 10 together and going to a different restaurant just to get away from the hotel food, and to make sure that we mix and socialise and have a bit of a laugh, because that's the important thing. We've got to enjoy what we're doing, and we know we're under a bit of pressure. There's a lot of scrutiny, but the thing about it, it's a game, it's a sport. Yes, we've got to prepare properly, we've got to put the work and effort into it, but we've still got to enjoy what we're doing as well. Not a lot at the moment. In terms of myself unwinding is, again, you've just, you go and spend a bit of time with the other coaches and have a bit of a coffee. For me at the moment is sort of catching up with some family and friends as well, and just again getting out of the hotel, grabbing a cup of coffee and just getting away from it for a couple of hours. Otherwise, you can be consumed by it. I mean, things come around so quickly in terms of the 2 games a week, and then trying to move a big group of players and management and all the kit and stuff from one place to the other. So yes, you've got to make sure that you do, like you're working long hours. The coaches are up early in the morning and finishing late at night, but then trying to get that balance between having a coffee together, maybe just talking about what's happened and the events of the day, to try and get away from what we've been doing as a coaching group. Yeah, I mean, I think the scrutiny of the pressure is understanding that, preparing for it before you start, and if you understand what's coming, and looking at past tours and previous tours, there's been a lot of scrutiny and pressure on the coaches. I mean, there's so many people out there writing from different angles, and preparing for it. That's the best thing, and understanding that. And for myself, I kind of thrive on that sort of stuff in terms of a lot of the talk or the challenge being aimed at me, and obviously people are going from, like I said, from different angles, and sometimes taking that pressure individually away from the team or from the players have a positive impact on the team and on the players, because these are young men, and sometimes they've been under scrutiny, and people criticising them can have a negative effect. And for a lot of them, they wouldn't have experienced this type of scrutiny from, such a vast amount of people writing from about different things, and positives, negatives, being critical, and so being able to, like I said, be prepared for that, and for sometimes the messages, just create a little bubble for yourself, and not worry about the external stuff, because we can control what we can control in our own environment, and not let negativity from the outside have an impact on us. Yeah, I mean, the training is the most important thing. Is that we're working on combinations and working on the players becoming familiar with each other and the calls and moves. And the hardest thing at the moment is that you're holding things back. It's like a game of chess. That you're showing certain things on the field, and because you're preparing for a couple of weeks' time in the first test, and not wanting to show everything, and or showing something that we may look like we're doing at the moment, but we might do something completely different in the test. So that's the hard thing. Look, there's still things for us to get better at, and it's important that we use training to make sure that our lines are right, the intensity's right. We've got a few things that we still want to improve on from after the first couple of games to continue to be sharper. And it was pleasing, in the last couple of sessions we've started to look sharper. That the combinations are, for those players that have been working together for a bit longer, are starting to show. And the challenge for us, and the thing was that we always said that everyone was going to get a start in the first 3 games, and I always felt that was important from a squad point of view, in terms of the harmony and players thinking, okay, I've had a start, I've had a chance. And then for us now to start thinking, after the game against the Crusaders, the Maoris game is going to be important, and then the following week we've got the first test, and it's going to come around pretty quickly, and we need to as coaches and as a management start thinking about the potential combinations over the next few games, and in terms of what we're looking at for a potential starting 15 for that first test. No, the pressure's always the same. I mean, particularly I think on the head coach, and I said that in 2013, the experience of 2013, that as players you can kind of come on a Lions tour and almost be not have that individual pressure that they sometimes get back in the UK at club or international level, because there is so much focus on the coaches and the playing and the playing style and the performance. You win, and you get credit. The team performs poorly and you lose, and a lot of that criticism's heaped on on the coaches, and having experienced that in the past, like I said, and being prepared for it, it makes it a lot easier in terms of coping with the pressure or the criticism, or making sure that it doesn't sort of go on to the players. The players aren't affected, and they're prepared as best as they possibly can. I spoke to the players as well about handling that pressure, handling the expectation, because they've all been in situations before in the past, and a lot of these players have been in teams or played in games where they've been written off, and they've performed and produced when there hasn't been that sort of expectation on them. And the best players in the world, they rise to those challenges. That's what drives them. That's what makes them the best players, because they're able to respond to the unexpected, or respond to when people are writing them off. And so that's what we've been talking about as a squad and players. And I've seen a number of these players in the past and teams that they've played for, whether it's been at club level or international, respond to the challenges that have been placed on them. So, and that's what we're looking for them to do over the next few games, to respond to the challenges that we need to rise to continue to keep improving as a squad and team. And like I said, it's all about building for that first test.